Sweet Science Brothers coming to you live from NYC. What up, YouTube boxing fans? It's your boy Av, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about Terence Crawford. He's scheduled to fight February 27th in Madison Square Garden against Hank Lundy. I wanted to give you guys my take on that, and also my take on the landscape of the 140-pound division. So, first of all, I'm a huge Terence Crawford fan. He's my favorite fighter. So any of the early subscribers in the channel, you guys already know how I feel about Terence Crawford. So anyway, I want to say that as a Terence Crawford fan, I am disappointed with the choice of Hank Lundy. I'm sure everybody is. Hank Lundy is a guy who he's been beat quite a few times, and he's been beaten by most of the top guys at 140. He's not a slouch, you know. He's like a solid C-plus fighter. He'll beat other C-level guys, and he loses to B-level guys. So, I mean, it's not the best, it's not the greatest step up in competition. I mean, Hank Lundy lost to Tomas Delorme, who Terence Crawford knocked out in 5 rounds. I think it was in the 5th round, he finished him off, destroyed him. He lost to Mauricio Herrera. He lost, whatever. He lost to a couple of other. Oh, Victor Postal beat him. He's already lost to the top guys at 140. So I'm really disappointed with the choice of Hank Lundy. But at the same time, I'm aware that quite a few other guys turned down fights with Terence Crawford. You see, this whole dilemma happened because Manny Pacquiao and his team didn't choose Crawford. So they had a short amount of time because the plan. See, there was an option. There was a plan A and a plan B for Terence Crawford. Plan A, which fell through, was going on pay-per-view and fighting Manny Pacquiao, and that fell through. I'll get to that in a minute. But so Plan B was to have Terence Crawford fight at least 3 times this year, because Top Rank Crawford's ready for the big time. All right, but to put him on a pay-per-view, they got to build him up a little bit more. The guys inside Top Rank feel that he's not marketable enough. I don't agree with them. I think they're crazy for saying that. He isn't ready for a pay-per-view, but he is marketable. The point is, they want to get him to fight 3 or 4 times this year, and they want to have him travel around the States. So he's fighting February 27th in Madison Square Garden in New York. And I'm sure they're planning to take him to Texas and probably go to LA, maybe fight at the Forum, and then maybe after that go to Las Vegas. You know, they're going to try to move him around a little this year. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm happy because, honestly, I felt that 2 fights a year is not enough for Terence Crawford, and it's not enough for any of these non-elite, non-pay-per-view fighters. Like, if you're not a pay-per-view fighter, okay, you need to be fighting at least 3 times a year. I'm sick of these fighters fighting twice a year. That's not enough. That is not enough, especially if you're a young guy. Like, what are you doing for 6 months? Are you serious? Like, when you read about the legends, the glorious legends of the sport, like fighters like Willie Pep and Sugar Ray Robinson and, you know, all these guys, they used to fight, you know, like 6, 7 times a year. You know, I was reading about Willie Pep the other day. The guy had... There were some years where he had 18 fights, you know what I'm saying? 16, 18 fights, like, in a year. And it's like, yo, these guys need to get a little more busy. I mean, especially these young lions out there, you know, who are trying to make a name for themselves, like Benavidez, Verdejo, Terence Crawford. These guys, they need to be fighting 3, 4 times a year, knocking guys out, getting on TV, being on a lot of undercards, and getting exposure, as much exposure as possible, so that they could be on those big pay-per-view level fights. Or if not pay-per-view level fights, at least those championship big-time fights that we look forward to, you know? So yeah, I was really upset that he only fought twice last year. I thought that was mismanagement on his part. I really did. I don't know why he only fought twice, but he went from having a glorious year where he went to Scotland and destroyed Ricky Burns, came back to the States, you know, had a super fight with Gamboa, the guy is just kicking ass and taking names, knocking guys out. It was beautiful. Like I'm telling you, it was amazing what he was doing. And he fought his #1 contender, Ray Beltran. He had a great year, fighter of the year, everything. And then he went on to just having 2 fights. Now, Terence Crawford moved up to 140, which was natural. If you are a fan of Terence Crawford, or if you maybe you don't know all the details, but HBO had 2 days with Terence Crawford, like special edition. They do that often, where they even had one with Gennady Golovkin, where it's like 2 days prior to their fight, they'll follow the guy around and show him. So they had one with Terence Crawford, right? And this guy wore a sauna suit and put a sweatsuit over it, and then went into a steam room for hours to make the weight 135. I think that was for the Beltran fight. And my point is that he couldn't stay at that weight anymore. His days at 135 were over. You know what I'm saying? It showed his weight. Like, he was 139. He went from 139 to 135 in a day, and it just, he was struggling. He couldn't be there anymore. So the move to 140 was perfect and natural, and it had to be done, and it was the right move. The big money fights are up there. And I thought the choice of Tomás Delorme was absolutely perfect. Tomás Delorme is a good fighter. He's a solid fighter at 140. He's got a couple of losses, but he's solid. He's very solid. For your first fight at 140, excellent choice of opponent. Terence Crawford looked absolutely spectacular. He completely knocked this guy out. It was phenomenal. It was unbelievable. So that was great. But then he went on to fight this other guy, Thierry Jean. The guy is unproven at 140. He's a lightweight, blown up lightweight. And, there wasn't any type of promotion for that fight at all. I'm a big Terence Crawford fan, and I just knew he was fighting some guy named Thierry Jean. I looked up his box rec, and I really didn't care, but I just wanted to see Terence fight, so I tuned in. It was a good fight. Terence Crawford laid his ass out. It was great, but at the same time, once again, twice a year, not enough, and Thierry Jean was a bad pick of opponent. And now we're getting Hank Lundy. And I just think Hank Lundy is a pathetic choice. He got knocked out by Tomás Delorme, the guy that you already destroyed in 5 rounds. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a bad choice. But I can't knock Terence Crawford, because when the Pacquiao fight fell through, when he wasn't picked, there was plan B was Terence Crawford's going to have to fight 3 or 4 times this year. So they were scrambling to go get him a fight and get him in the ring February 27th. And from what I hear, several fighters turned down offers to fight Terence Crawford, because you got to understand, Terence Crawford's a killer. There's a lot of up and coming guys, they don't want to fight Terence Crawford. Trust me on that. And so the people's champion Mauricio Herrera, I love that guy. He's great. He's been robbed several times. He's been done dirty in the sport. He was offered a fight with Terence Crawford. He's one of the only names I know that turned down the fight. So he turned down a fight with Terence Crawford, which is unlike him. Very disappointing. But he said something, and I can't hate Mauricio. I can't knock him for it. He basically said, they offered me $300,000. He's like, I've paid my dues in boxing. I've never got any of the decisions that I deserve. I've been robbed several times, and I'm most likely not going to get a decision against this guy, so I'm not going to go in there for $300,000 offering me peanuts. I've paid my dues and I deserve to be paid, So he didn't accept the fight. He's going on to rematch Ruslan Provodnikov. Very deadly fight for him. I wish him nothing but the best. I wish he did take the fight, but I understand his point. He's been robbed several times. I can't see him ever getting a decision on Crawford. Not without a couple knockdowns. No way. So he probably made the right choice. Anyway, so I'm disappointed about the Hank Lundy fight, but I can't knock Crawford. I can't even knock the guy who ducked him, Mauricio Herrera, because, he has a point with everything that he said. So the Hank Lundy fight is what we're stuck with. But looking on the bright side, hopefully Terence Crawford will fight 3 or 4 times this year, and I'm hoping that, you know, they'll get some better opponents in the ring with him, because the 140-pound landscape is deep. I want to see Terence Crawford fight Ruslan Provodnikov, Lucas Matisse, you know, Benavidez. I want to see him fight Verdejo. I want to see him fight everyone. Of course, Victor Postal. And I want to just leave you guys with this. Victor Postal is the man in the division. He's the number one guy. He's the kingpin. Point blank, period. And you have to beat him to be the man at 140. And he's the only man, as a Terence Crawford fan, I'll say, he's the only man that Terence Crawford is not ready for right now. If it was Victor Postal in the ring in February, I would favor Postal for the win. I would. I'm not saying that Terence Crawford can't beat him. I'm just saying that he's not exactly ready for Postal. He needs to, you know, he needs to try to get in the ring with a couple of tall guys. You know, he needs to pick very good sparring partners. He needs a lot of preparation for Victor Postal. Victor Postal, I'm thinking that fight will happen in 2017. Not just because Terence Crawford isn't ready, because I think he could beat Victor Postal. I just slightly favor Postal right now. If they were getting in the ring right now, I would favor Postal a little bit, because, you know, Postal is just a very, 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 very bad man. Simple as that. He's a bad man. He's the number one at 140. I do favor him for now. I think a year from now, Terence Crawford can beat him, but like I said, he needs a little bit more, he needs some preparation for that fight. But the main reason that fight won't happen, Victor Postal and Terence Crawford right now, is because, let's face it, you know, people, besides us hardcore boxing fans, people don't know Victor Postal. They just don't. And Top Rank has not done a good job promoting the guy. Simple as they have not done a good job promoting him, and they need to get him out there. They need to promote him. They need to put him in he needs to also fight 3 or 4 times this year. And, you know, not just, I mean, he should fight top opposition, but he should also fight a couple soft touches. You know, he needs a couple of spectacular knockouts. They should put him on the undercard of a couple of big shows and let him, you know, he needs to shine a little bit, because Terence Crawford and Victor Postal, that fight is for, you know, the lineal spot at 140, and they deserve to be paid. That should be a pay-per-view fight. That should be a big fight. And, you know, so I'm not saying to delay the fight, you know, a year, more than a year, but I'm saying, you know, Victor Postal should get some highlight reel knockouts, and Terence Crawford should as well, and it should build that fight up nicely, you know. As for the other guys at 140, like, I want Crawford in the ring with all those guys. Those fights don't need to be built up too long. Like, he should be fighting Ruslan Provodnikov next. Why not? Or Matisse. I want Lucas Matisse or Provodnikov next. One of those guys. I want him to fight. I think he'll beat the shit out of both of those guys. No problem, by the way. Let me go on record with that. But they're deadly. They could knock him out, but, you know, I think he'll beat them both. My point, though, is that I want those fights. I don't feel Terence Crawford needs protection. I think he does need more promotion. I think he needs to be more active, but he's ready for these guys. You know what I mean? Like, if a guy like Manny Pacquiao won't take a fight with him to take him to the next level, then he's going to have to fight guys like Lucas Matisse and Provodnikov to put himself at the next level. As simple as that. Like, he has to fight these guys in order to be where he wants to be. And I know that he wants to fight them. It's just a matter of, like, whether Top Rank is willing to take some of those risks right now. And they should. They should. Maybe he doesn't have to fight every one of them back to back, but he needs... Listen, this Hank Lundy fight, I'm not happy about it. I'm hoping that the next fight will be a big one. It better be. I mean, the guy's got too much skills to be wasting his time fighting guys like this. But anyway, those are my thoughts. 2016 is looking to be a good year either way. Lots of big fights out there. I'm excited about the 140-pound division as well. All of you should be as well. So, this is your boy out from Sweet Science Brothers. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how you feel about the landscape at 140. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And, you know, share your thoughts, all right? Peace.